Another reason for the slow development of judicial education in Australia has been the way judges were traditionally recruited. Australian judges have generally been appointed in the later stages of their professional careers. Until recently, new appointees did not undertake any special course of judicial training. Since they had been practicing lawyers, usually with quite a lot of courtroom experience, it was assumed they could take up their responsibilities without further education. There is some very slight evidence that patterns of recruitment are changing, as over the last 20 years or so, Australian governments have been looking to appoint judges from a larger group and to increase the participation of women in the judiciary. This has led them to look at government, the universities and private practice outside advocacy as a potential place for recruiting judges. In Australia, there is a well-held view that there is a connection between judicial recruitment and judicial training. Further, and importantly, there have been calls at the community level for judicial education. These grew out of concerns for some ill-advised comments by judges in socially sensitive matters, particularly in rape cases and especially in one very well-known rape in marriage case. In public discussions, it is now generally accepted that judges are likely to encounter situations, attitudes, values outside their personal experience. Professional development programs are designed to bridge the gap. Significantly, within the courts, commitment to judicial education is not confined to judges without much courtroom experience. Although attendance is voluntary, most judges now attend orientation programs. The programs are residential and program leaders are generally more experienced judges. But judicial education in Australia doesn't stop with training new appointees. There are an increasing number of high-level courses designed for experienced judges. The courses cover aspects of the judicial role, the application of the law, decision-making, case management, judicial conduct, the relationship between the courts and society, updating judicial officers with knowledge and fresh perceptions, as well as the management of work-related health issues. Australian judicial education is still frequently conducted by the courts themselves. The Federal Court has its own education committee. Amongst other things, the committee is responsible for arranging at least two-day workshops a year on matters concerning the court. Judges select the topics. Again, leaders of the workshops are often judges, as well as academics chosen by the judges. In the Federal Court, the result is that judges are committed to drawing as much as they can from these workshops. Participation has promoted a positive attitude to lifelong learning. Involvement in the judge-run programs has encouraged a high degree of collegiality. Until recently, there has been no one agency in Australia charged with responsibility for national judicial education. The establishment of the National Judicial College has signalled a significant shift. The college is now 4 years old. Its council consists of judges and nominees of various attorneys general. Regional conveners assist in advising and advertising the college programs. Its budget is modest. Its chief purpose is to deliver high-quality professional development programs. Its approach is practical. It seeks to follow best practice for adult learning by designing programs around small groups of judicial officers, about 20 to 30. The emphasis is on sharing knowledge and experience. It does not generally adopt a formal lecture model, but has found that structured discussions of practical problems work best. In a judgment writing program, participants bring along examples of recently prepared and published judgments for discussion and review. Participants learn through individually rewriting and discussing their judgments with their peers with the assistance of a professional writer. Interestingly, judges speak very highly indeed of this course, although I confess I would attend it with some trepidation. The college has recently secured endorsement for a national standard for judicial professional development. The national standard states the amount of time judges should be able to commit to professional development. The national standard is intended to be a benchmark to encourage judges, courts and government to make this commitment. The development of the national standard expressly acknowledges what we all intuitively know: judicial education is costly. There are the direct and indirect costs of providing courses to individual judges. There is also the cost of lost judicial time. Time spent out of court on judicial education is not, I think, to be regarded as non-productive. On the contrary, it is a sound investment. And courts, in Australia at least, are coming to see it as a way to make a modern judiciary in which litigants and communities can have confidence. To continue the Australian theme, in order to protect judicial independence, the Australian experience is that professional development favours a judge-led program. This means that judicial education is controlled by the judiciary, and the content and methods of delivery are decided by the judiciary. It doesn't mean that the presenters are necessarily judges. The Australian experience is that education works best where it is voluntary. Judges learn most when they choose to attend programs and courses on topics that they have identified as useful. Judges at all levels choose to attend programs that are well run and relevant. Court administrators who encourage their judges to attend work-enhancing programs secure courts that are well run and well respected. Plainly enough, those providing courses need the best practicable support. It is vital too that the courses be dedicated to genuine judicial needs. One hopes they are not taken over by government or other interest groups to develop their own agenda. There are various social and cultural changes that have brought about this shift in Australia in relation to judicial education. Judges have always been responsible for resolving justiciable disputes between government and the individual and between individuals. But the context in which they carry out their work has changed. There is now almost universal acceptance that the courts carry out their work in the context of constant social and technological change. These changes frequently give rise to the disputes that come before the courts. If they are to resolve these disputes justly and according to law, judges must have the knowledge, social understanding, and judicial skills reasonably necessary to do so. High-quality judicial education can greatly assist. The work of the courts themselves is also constantly changing. In most places, judges carry heavy workloads, and their work is increasing in its complexity. They have limited resources within the courts to support them. Societal expectations of the judiciary are also changing, and confidence in the judiciary can all too easily be undermined by judges' failure to satisfy these expectations. Judges need suitable programs of education to equip them to meet these demands.